this summer.
Yeah,
So
fantastic. But yeah, and look, I promote a fair number of campaigns, as you know, as well as my own. And the most important number that I have seen is the average pledge. Like, if you have a campaign that somehow is able to move your average pledge from one book to two books, so moving the average pledge from $20 US to 30 or 35, like that means my marketing efforts are going to be like doubled in terms of the result that you see on like the headline number, because I'll tell people, oh hey, Cygnus Imperium 2, like I'm right now, like Cygnus Imperium 2, go back it on Kickstarter.
it's just funded, guaranteed to
Yes,
happen.
it's funded. You're gonna get your book, and whoever I send over there, if they're picking up stuff at 30, that amounts to $35 instead of just 20, then like the numbers that I'm going to see or you're going to see, like in terms of the marketing, is going to be almost twice as big.
Well, yeah,
And
and
yeah,
that's why when we go offline, we're going to talk about some points like we did
okay,
last time, because
okay, sure,
that was part of this same deal as last time.
yeah.
You absolutely do deserve some of that if
Oh,
that's what's happening.
I do my best. All right,
I
so let's see.
am
We have
aggressively equitable. It's such a problem, and
yeah,
I'm not stepping back from that.
thank you. And by the way, John Lamont's campaign, he could not be here this evening. We are sad,
He has
but
insane
yeah,
money.
yeah.
Everybody loves Angel of Darkness.
Yeah, $10,400. So he just broke 10,000 today.
And they're clearly in it for my lettering,
Yeah, congratulations.
which I leveled up a little bit for this. It was a ton of
Yeah,
fun.
and and I've been sitting here, I just the fifth edition. I'm just wrapping my arms around fifth edition, and I'm giving it a big hug. And I haven't done that before. Before I've been like rebelling against it, but now I have seen the light.
I heard fifth edition was like fairly old school.
Yeah, and because I'm adapting an old school module, it's not that hard really. You know, I just did a convention of like the old 40s and 50s people who were like early editions of D&D are amazing.
I still own my first ed
There
AD&D
you go.
handbook, and I was like,
Right.
not even born when that came out.
But like just yesterday, because I I ended up in a weird position with Palace, because initially I was lining it up for one game system, because when it comes to discussing tabletop fantasy role-playing games, notice I was very careful in choosing my words, because I didn't say we were discussing Dungeons and Dragons, because if we were discussing Dungeons and Dragons, that's now a trademark. But if we're discussing tabletop fantasy role-playing game, then we might be talking about a lot of games that people would think of as Dungeons and Dragons that aren't labeled necessarily as so.
Yeah, you could just write a GURPS module.
Exactly. And stuff like that. Well, GURPS, you got to talk to Steve Jackson Games, and they're very happy to sell them.
Ramon Perez, he knows them.
There you go. But I'm very happy to buy Munchkin from Steve Jackson, so thank you so much. But I like they're pretty finicky when it comes to their GURPS license, and GURPS is it's not the market of fifth edition anyway.
God no.
So I'm writing. Oh, so I had this one kind of system for a tabletop role playing game, kind of lined up, and we were writing it for that, and then and look, I did what I was supposed to do. I got my provisional license, like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, da da da, and they go, oh yeah, sure. Here they send me a provisional license. Let us see it when when you're done, and then I ship it to them when we're done, and they come back and go, yeah, I don't think so. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I have to rework it, and so it was kind of like I just made a last minute decision. Really, at that point, I just followed the money. I mean, fifth edition had two very strong things going for it. One, it's the biggest crowd, and two, there's no gatekeeper. Like, it's an open license. I cannot be refused. I'm like, all right, fifth edition it is. But I was working with Courtney Campbell, who's the module writer, and I'm like, are there ways we can customize 5th edition to be more like 70s and 80s D&Ds? Like, yeah, no problem. So he wrote up all these, changes, and that's cool. Now, like, it's my personal flavor of 5th edition, but that means somebody needs to understand what variation on 5e this system is being written in, because it's being written in a system that is essentially unique in its own. And
I feel like with the right kind of world building explanation, it's not that bad, right?
right, yeah.
So, while we're talking about tabletop fantasy role playing games, I recently, and to very good effect, read through the Monty Cook, I think, Cipher System book.
Okay, neat.
I'm pretty new, and
Monty Cook is pretty crunchy. Like he writes a lot of stuff, a lot of.
This one's very narrative.
Oh, okay, neat.
Like your character is an adjective, noun, who, verbs, and that's like literally like I'm a metal wizard who rides the lightning.
Okay.
Right. And that's how you describe your character. That's what you do. It's very sort of numbers light. And I sort of read this to work on my storytelling and character development and stuff like that.
I like it.
By explaining like, oh, this is a world where these things happen and it works like this, like with some sort of narrative component as compared to a crunchy component, you can get a lot of that across, where the crunch sort of works to the effect of schematizing the fantasy world that you're creating, as compared to just being like, well, here's the crunch, figure out why it's awesome.
Right.
If that makes sense. So that might be an elegant solution. This is a world where these things happen. If you write that,
yes,
and then hear how it happens, is a lot easier to explain.
Well, when I'm finished with this, I will send it over and you can give it a read.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help.
Too long. All right, so we have one script tonight, so it shouldn't be too long. We have chromatic
Beetlejuice. Yeah,
chromatic Beetlejuice algorithm. Exactly.
I love this story, and I don't know why. It's because I made like Ghost in the Shell. That's why. This is like a crazy Ghost in the Shell meets the Warriors in like the worst way.
Let's see. Well, we're starting here on page 1, and then we go to page 10. Okay, 10 pages.
And
here we are.
It's been a while since we've done this. Do we remember if this is new content?
I mean, he submitted 10 pages. I guess that's what I'm reading.
Well, yes, but I mean, he's always submitting 10 pages. Sometimes it's a rewrite.
I'm not sure.
It just stands into... Okay, this seems like it's at least picking up near where we were last time.
Okay.
Because I remember the interrogation scene vaguely, but I don't suspect, without John or Larry here, that I'm going to remember enough to give meaningful notes for the revisions. So sorry about that, brother.
All right. Mitsuha stands into Fubuki's face. All right. Her hands balled up into fists, wanting to know who gave her the drug shipment. Fubuki is visibly stressed out from the events of the prior issue. All right.
This is definitely new. Give me a name, and you'll be given protection, like we agreed to earlier.
Panel 2, Fubuki begins to sweat bullets. She shakes her head violently.
I can't. You can't, or you won't.
Panel 3, Fubuki looks at the floor, avoiding eye contact.
Aster Helix. He goes by Aster Helix.
Panel 4, Fubuki lets out a loud gulp. Panel 5, in the background, Nobuyu comes in with a portable computer deck ready to take the statement.
What kind of name is Aster Helix? Let's see if I remember these voices on the next page.
There we go. Page 2. Aster Helix, with gelled black teal hair, sits in a chair at a poker table. I'm always happy to see a poker table. The poker table is loaded. All right, I don't know what that means, but okay. He has white and blue lights on his augment hands. There is a lady in a suit standing across from him, her back to the reader.
You lose. And as we agreed, it was double or bust.
I don't know what kind of poker they're playing, but all right.
Future poker.
Future poker.
You got some gall. I'll give you that.
Panel 2. She rakes in the poker chips. She rakes in the poker chips in her hands, smiling.
I hope you aren't taking this personally. It comes with the gig. Just don't spend it all in one place.
Panel 3. The woman walks away gleeful with her chips.
Well, I'll be off to the slot machines then.
This is not poker. All right, fine. All right. Panel 4. Close up on the woman's face. On her left ear, a small but suspicious orange light blinks.
In case no one told you.
Panel 5. Helix stands up. A shadow and augment lights outline his face. The woman's head flies off. Oh, wires and oil spray across this panel. SFX ring.
Cheaters will be removed permanently.
All right, I love it. There we go. That's poker. You catch somebody cheating you take them out. Panel 1. Helix, covered in a bit of oil, faces his hand out. A blue sickle floats towards his head. 2 Snowstorm gang members come in. They are wearing dark blue bomber jackets with a large patch that is a tally of the number 5 made of icicles. One of them has a pair of sunglasses on.
Took you long enough.
Panel 2. Helix snags the cycle. The 2 men look at Helix, worried expressions on their faces.
Had another cheater. You know the drill. Resell the good parts and harvest any organs. Make with the magic. Helix, we need to talk about the hit.
Panel 3. Helix shoots them a menacing glance and pulls a cigar from his jacket.
You missed, didn't you? We didn't miss. The other 2 you said did. Before comms went dead, they mentioned something about a cop getting involved.
Panel 4. Helix sits back down in his chair, thinking for a moment.
It's safe to assume the authorities are going to be having a field day with this. Either way, we'll need to try again to take her out. Anyone else who tried to get involved.
Page 4. 4 panels. Panel 1. Close up. Helix narrows his eyes and inhales in cigar. Inhales in cigar, knowing what he has to do.
I'll inform Jericho after tonight's fight. Lucky for us, it's going to be a good one.
Panel 2. The gang members have wary looks on their faces.
Meantime, you 2 get your ass to the Golden Wing exhibition hall and pick up any winning bets.
Panel 3. Helix, with a glass of liquor in his hand, raises the scythe as a threat.
You won't mess up this time.
I wonder if the scythe was present during the poker game.
I'm pretty sure it was the scythe that killed the lady.
Yeah, like he was just sitting there playing poker. He was sitting there playing heads-up poker with a scythe.
Maybe it was hidden in his body somewhere.
Understand? That's pretty gangster.
Maybe like his biceps are made of scythes.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? He's half robot. This shit happens.
Panel 4, wide shot, surrounded by cheering fans. There are 2 MMA fighters in the ring mid-fight. Hitomi is short-haired and tanned. She is wearing a set of green sports bra and shorts. The second fighter with a side shave is wearing a set of blue sports bra and shorts. Both have different robotic augments on their arms and legs. Page 5, panels. Number 1, the blue fighter roundhouse kicks Hitomi, who blocks it with her arms and slides back a bit. Panel 2, blue fighter begins to fall back, losing balance. Hitomi pounces her leg, ready to knock her over. Panel 3, the blue fighter falls to the floor, and Hitomi begins to wail on her opponent's face. Panel 4, Hitomi, her tan brown skin is sweaty, has her arms pulled back by a referee. Panel 5, Hitomi stands up, and her opponent is KO'd on the floor. The crowd is roaring with excitement.
Winner by knockout is...
There we go. Page 6, panel 1. Hitomi's face has a look of smug satisfaction as she looks around the frenzy-filled arena.
Hitomi Moita.
Panel 2, from the back of her head. Okay. Hitomi turns her head to the right. She sees Mitsuha and Dave both cheering.
That's an over the shoulder shot, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's over the shoulder. Yeah, both cheering her on, and huge VIP passes around their necks. Artist note: the VIP pass actually says VIP in fat letters.
I'm really 100% comfortable with that direction.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Just draw it.
Yeah. Panel 3, interior exhibition box office. In the foreground, an indebted man looks at his ticket. He is panicked and sweating. In the background, the snowstorm men from earlier arrive at the box office window. One is carrying a briefcase.
No. I was supposed to win. There's no way I can pay it back.
May I help you?
Yeah. We're here to collect on behalf of Mr. Banks.
Panel 4, close up. Snowstorm Man 2 slaps down a ticket to pick up the winning bet payout. Panel 3, the lady widens her eyes as she looks at her screen. It says payout 40 million yen. That's million yen, yeah.
Your payout is 40 million.
Approximately 328,000 USD.
That is completely irrelevant to the actual story we're looking at here.
That is, yes. Panel 6, a snowman is in the foreground, looking at the teller. In the background, a passerby's ears perk up when he hears the snowman speak.
I'm guessing we're going to need a bigger briefcase. Wow.
Page 7, panel 1, Hitomi is now wearing standard track suit. The jacket is open, still showing her sports bra from earlier. I'm glad. She closes and locks the door to her room.
Can't wait to get home.
Panel 2, from behind, the indebted man from the previous page approaches Hitomi armed with a butterfly knife as she begins to turn around. Panel 3, the passerby cups Hitomi's mouth as he slams her against the door, knife pressed against her neck. That's good direction. I like that.
This is good direction. Yeah, this is a good scene. You took everything from me.
Panel 4, Hitomi, shocked and surprised, has a confused expression on her face.
I don't even know you. I'm broke because of you. All you had to do was lose.
Panel 5, Hitomi knees him in the stomach. He hunches back a bit, still holding the knife. Panel 6, Hitomi begins to run away, and the man follows her. Panel 7, he lunges at her with crazed eyes and grabs her right leg. Hitomi falls. Panel 8, Hitomi tries to kick him off, but with no success.
Let go of me. It's your fault you bet for a loser.
Page 8, panel 1. He slices her leg with his knife, exposing wires. Oil begins to drip from the cut. Panel 2. The raccoon-eyed man then holds the knife in his fist and tries to slam it into Hitomi's neck. Hitomi struggles to push his arm back and barely keeps the knife from cutting her neck. Panel 2, Indebted Man's POV. Hitomi's eyes are filled with panic as she feels the knife on her neck. Panel 3, wide shot. A bullet flies through his skull, causing brains and gray matter to fly all over Hitomi's face. Blam! Well, the fight ended in a decisive way. Panel 4, the second Snowstorm's member, sunglasses shining, keeps his aim on the body. His handgun lets out smoke.
Are you all right?
Panel 3, Hitomi is filled with terror seeing the dead man lay on top of her.
Why did you shoot him? You did great tonight, Hitomi. It'd be a shame for anything to happen to the up-and-coming prodigy.
Panel 6, a devilish grin comes across his face.
And our prospective investment.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, page 9, panel 1. Hitomi is a fighting stance. The man's blood is dribbled.
He is a fighting stance?
Hitomi is a fighting stance.
Is this like a Sailor Moon transformation into an abstract concept?
I guess. The man's blood is dribbled over her clothes. He lowers his gun.
I'm telling you what's happening. Think of us as your investors. We provide you insurance. It's something you might want to consider.
Panel 2, he steps back and begins to disappear from Hitomi's view. Panel 3, Hitomi has a pained look on her face, confused. Panel 4, Hitomi slumps to her knees, adrenaline running low in the distance. Mitsuha runs towards her. She has her revolver ready and her VIP pass flies behind her.
What's going on? I heard a gunshot. Hitomi!
Panel 5, Mitsuha now next to Hitomi grabs her by the shoulder. She looks around.
I'm fine. He had it coming. Did you shoot him? No.
Page 10, 7 panels. Panel 1, Mitsuha signals, come here, with her hand. Dave comes from where Mitsuha came, armed with a pipe wrench.
I'm ringing for backup. Until then, I'm doing a perimeter scan. Let's get you to your backstage room.
Oh, yeah. Panel 2, Dave circles around to Hitomi and sees that that slashed leg has snapped. The area has black oil dripping and dangling wires. His face has a look of doubt, and his pipe wrench is at the ready.
Sure you're good? One wrong step, and that's going to snap like jerky. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Jerky snap in America?
I guess they snap like jerky. I mean, I've eaten a fair amount of jerky. I don't know that I would describe it as a particularly snappy food, honestly, but whatever.
Like a potato chip is a snappy food.
Yeah.
Or a Kit Kat bar.
Yeah, snap like a Kit Kat bar. There we go. Panel 3. Hitomi begins to shuffle her pockets, looking for her keys. Dave approaches Hitomi menacingly. Mitsuha wedges herself in between the two to give some space.
You're lying to her, so help me, I'll break your legs in myself. Dave, knock it off. Let's just sort this out somewhere where I won't get shot at. That is 3 people talking. Okay. I did the voices wrong.
There you go. You're fine. Panel 4. Hitomi pulls out a remote and aims it at the door. The door opens. Panel 5. Hitomi and Dave enter the backstage room. Panel 6. Mitsuha, her revolver in her hand, walks in the door backwards. She gives one last glance around as she slaps a round plate on the door. Yeah, she gives one last glance around as she slaps a round plate on the door. Panel 7, from a distance. The door closes in the background and a laser comes from the disc. It begins to scan the area in the foreground. Snowstorm number 2 silhouette can be seen. That's what we get. So we have red comedic Beetlejuice algorithm. I like I like the action. So we had an MMA fight, which was pretty good. We had a fight with Hitomi after the fight about losing the fight, which was pretty good. We had a fight.
There was a poker fight.
Yeah, there was a poker fight which ended. Was Hitomi in the poker fight too?
No, it's
Okay.
woman who doesn't matter because she's dead now was in the poker fight.
Oh, I liked her. All right, fine. Okay.
Well, she's dead now, and she
She got sliced off by the guy with the scythe. And hey, look, that's cool. I want more specific art direction of the guy sitting there playing Hold'em with a scythe. Like, I think that would just be cool. I don't know if I'd want to play poker with a man holding a scythe, but I think there's definitely some good atmosphere in the thing. It's cyberpunky. We got, I mean, out of 10 pages, like, we had a fair amount of violence. I think there was more than one death. So very good.
There was a ton of action here. It was largely well realized, and it kept the pacing really engaging.
Yeah. In terms of constructives, you fall into passive voice a fair amount. And I feel like it's on us. I feel like if you really just took an extra 10 or 15 minutes and just scanned for all the ises and stuff, you could take these out and the pages would end up being better. So I feel like
there's a function on a computer that lets you do that really efficiently.
Yeah. So I feel like this is a little bit sorry, a little bit of laziness that, look, you can solve this problem and you can turn in better pages, and I would just encourage you to do that. In terms of the poker scene, I that feels like we're establishing that the villain is evil, so the villain has to do something evil. So thank goodness we had someone there who was trying to cheat him at poker, so he could, drop them in a fish tank and have them eaten by piranhas or something. But that was okay, I guess. It didn't feel like it necessarily tied to the other scene where we've got Hitomi in the MMA fight, and then the guy chasing her because he lost his bet, and yeah, I'm not quite sure in hindsight how the poker game fits in to the MMA fight slash like we're ending with someone scanning for something, and I'm not exactly sure what they're looking for. So I mean, that may pick up ideally with the next scene and kind of clue me in. Here's hoping. But the script has an almost ambitious amount of story beats in just 10 pages, and it may need to actually slow down a little bit.
That was actually one of the directions I wanted to go with my constructives. I'm going to work my way backwards.
Okay.
So page 10 is a hot mess and needs to be taken out and shot.
Okay.
There are way too many verbs. There's no dialogue explaining what's going on. For some reason, Snowstorm Man 2 just disappears for 2 pages and pops up at the end here. None of that's particularly clear. And Hitomi goes from running away from a dude who's attacking her with a knife, which is a sensible reaction,
right,
to being shocked that he got shot all over her.
Yeah.
To then being very blasé about it very quickly.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really work as character beats. Dude with the knife with the attack, that was really good. I want to see more of that character, actually. And that story, although it's cliche, I think establishes the environment incredibly well and brings Hitomi into whatever's going on with Mitsuha very effectively. Whereas the investment conversation with the thug is like, she should already know who's backing her. Like, come on.
Right.
We've all seen sports movies where this happens. So no one should be shocked by that. That wasn't a great reveal. the Hitomi reveal scene was fine, but also the entire page of punching back and forth was sort of okay, fine, but why didn't you introduce the fight with a splash page? And like, you know, you can just have her punching the girl out in round 3 and get on with it if you want to do that.
Do we need to understand Hitomi's motivation for not taking the fall that she was apparently supposed to?
I mean, no one ever told her she was supposed to take a fall. We never saw her make a decision, so we don't know what she was supposed to.
Okay,
just the guy who bet against her thought she was going to, or thought she was going to lose. So this is a story about that guy.
Yeah, I would want a little more.
Preston's point about the boring poker game.
Yeah,
it would be, I think, a really good way to tie Hitomi into the story by starting with that guy desperately betting on her and just having, like, in the foreground and literally just having background action be the big boss man just killing a dude in the background of the same sports bet, like underground sports betting arena where that is happening.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even care that someone just got murdered behind him. He is desperate for money. That's how you introduce that. And then you have the background character suddenly becomes a foreground character later. You set it up, you're going to pay it off later. You're not introducing by their very stupid name.
And maybe and maybe the indebted man finds or hears some clue that would cause him to think that Hitomi is
gonna lose.
Yeah. Because
yeah. So to that end, I think that story might be the one that you open with. I would not, when you're doing this kind of action and you're introducing new action that is, you know, like runny, punchy, fighty action, at the same time you're introducing a new character and a new location, that's when you slow down and splash page it. So that's a note, and it's okay to slow down and splash page it. And just be like, look, here's our character. She's great. She's a real character. We're wasting a whole page on her. You need to care right now. It's a very nice shorthand for the reader. I also wouldn't open with a police interrogation if we're doing this. I would actually open with the guy going to bed, cut to the police interrogation, cut back to the fight. And then that way you can establish through the cuts that time has passed without having to worry about your continuity so much. And then also you're starting off with, you know, fine, it's you know, not balls to the wall action, but there's someone being murdered in the background, and that's still, you know, a pretty good thing to do in your first 3 pages to get a new reader engaged. Then you can give them a couple pages of boring interrogation scene, then go right back to the action. I think that's much more acceptable pacing for what you're going for, and it lets you take your foot off the gas while you make that tight turn and then gas out of the corner, which is what you want to be doing.
That's interesting. You know, I've look, for a while when I was in Hollywood, everybody was talking about Save the Cat. And I remember once somebody came to me and said, well, not came, you know, but was posting in like a screenplay forum of my script was returned, and they said that my like reversals and whatever were like completely predictable. And I was like, I asked, had you been consulting with any book or something and writing? They're like, Save the Cat. So I'm glad to not hear Save the Cat reference, and I really haven't heard it since I left LA. But now we've got a new reference from Danny that I lost to the joke, but something, I don't know, about poker players and action and evil guys, and I liked it. So
is it? I mean, the note is basically set it up before you pay it off.
Right. There you go.
And
yes.
So we're not saving the cat because none of these characters are the cat.
No.
Right. Hitomi's the cat for some reason, even though she's a badass boxer.
Yes.
Sorry, a badass robot cyborg monster.
This robot cyber, yeah.
But you know, she has a moment
that found herself like captured by a moment of pride, so she wouldn't take the fall.
you know, she understands the law, and if she punches someone when there's no consent, that's assault. But also she is being threatened with death and being incredibly conservative with her use of violence, and that's a good that's a good introduction to a character, as long as you stick with your guns here.
Yeah,
it's a fine introduction. We're meeting her for the first time. If she changes her mind later, that's less cool.
Yeah.
She's the cat. We definitely saved the cat. That scene was fine. You know, keep that. That was good. Change the dialogue there or whatever. Figure it out. But yeah, like, start with the asshole who's gonna just cause a ruckus, and you know, let us stand in his shoes for a while, and then we can stop caring about him, and that's fine too. Right? It's okay. Not every character that's your point of view character needs to be someone that the audience is meant to hold on to for a long period of time. We're briefly focusing our attention to this desperate man's story, and then, you know, well, that's where his story ends. He made a bad decision. These things happen. This is that kind of world. Sorry, guys, but
it was feeling a little like Squid Game. With when like the indebted man and got involved, I was like,
I still haven't seen Squid Game.
Oh, it's just pretty good.
I mean, I've seen Battle Royale. I don't imagine it's that different. Maybe it's a little bit different.
Well, I haven't seen.
I guess I should watch it and find out.
Yeah, exactly. Watch it and find out. All right, so we only had that one script, and no other scripts to work on. Oh wow!
Sorry,
I'm sure as more projects come in and out.
I mean, I am actually behind on writing stuff. I was supposed to put 8 pages down yesterday. Got distracted by 2 other jobs, and convention season is upon us.
It is.
It's busy. At least my Kickstarter funded, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Exactly.
And you should all back it.
There you go.
And yeah, so it's been on my agenda for a bit. It's probably going to be more reckless child endangerment, or I might get totally distracted and write about sexy high school Mephistopheles. But
there you go.
Something fun is in
there we go. The Demonatrix reincarnated.
Well, when I write it, it's not a John Lamont script.
Exactly. I love it. I can't wait. Okay, awesome. Well, I will see whoever tunes in next time, and thanks for stopping in, Danny.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.